Welcome back to Master 79. In this lesson, we will build a Band 9 answer to an ielts Rising Task 1 table showing employment patterns for males and females in New Zealand in 1993 and 2003. We will read the table together, brainstorm the real story, and then write the full response. Here is the task. The table below shows employment patterns for males and females in New Zealand in 1993 and 2003. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and make comparisons where relevant. You have 20 minutes and you must write at least 150 words. This is the data redrawn. 6 sectors down the side, across the top 2 years, and each year split into the percentage of the female workforce and the percentage of the male workforce. Take a moment to look at the extremes. 53% of women in services and transport in 1993, 38% of men in agriculture and business at just 1% of women and 7% of men. Before writing, understand what these numbers are. Each figure is a share of that sex's own workforce, so every column adds up to 100%. That matters because if one sector rises, another must fall, and never treat a female percentage as if it were a headcount you can compare directly with a male one. 53% of women is not more people than 22% of men. Your job is to find the widest gaps in the first year and ask what happened to them by the second. So let us brainstorm. On the left, 1993, a sharply divided labour market. Women massed in services and transport, with a quarter in manufacturing. Men led by agriculture. Business almost non-existent for either sex, and not a single woman in building. On the right, 2003, convergence. Business explodes to roughly a quarter of both workforces. Agriculture collapses for men from 38% to 8%. Female manufacturing halves. Only social services stays clearly female-leaning. Now the overview, which is where most candidates lose marks. The overview carries no figures at all. It states the shape of the data, not the data itself. 2 moves are enough. Name the general trend, then name the 1 or 2 biggest individual changes. Here the trend is convergence, the 2 workforces growing more alike. The standouts are the rise of business and the fall of agriculture among men. Begin with the word overall, so the examiner cannot miss it. Here is the plan. 4 paragraphs. 1. A one-sentence introduction that paraphrases the prompt. 2. The figure-free overview. 3. Body paragraph 1 describing how divided 1993 was. 4. Body paragraph 2 describing what closed by 2003 and what remained. Notice we are organizing by pattern, not simply listing the 6 sectors one after another. The introduction. The table compares the proportions of male and female workers employed across 6 sectors of the New Zealand economy in 1993 and 2003. 1 sentence. Notice that shows has become compares, and workforce has become workers employed across sectors. That is paraphrase, not copying. The overview. Overall, the 2 workforces became considerably more alike over the decade as the pronounced gender divisions evident at the start of the period narrowed in almost every sector. The most striking developments were the emergence of business as a major employer of both sexes and the steep contraction of agriculture among men, while the sectors that had been most heavily female-dominated lost ground. Read it again and count the figures. There are none. Body paragraph 1. In 1993, employment was sharply segregated. Over half of all working women, at 53%, were in services and transport, with a further quarter in manufacturing, whereas agriculture was the leading male sector at 38%. Business employed a negligible 1% of women and just 7% of men, and no women at all worked in building, compared with 12% of men. Notice whereas doing the comparative work, and a further quarter avoiding a bare repetition of the word percentage. Body paragraph 2. By 2003 these contrasts had softened markedly. Business had expanded to absorb 22% of women and 25% of men, making it comparable across the sexes, while the male share in agriculture had fallen to only 8%. Services and transport declined to 36% for women but rose to 31% for men, and female employment in manufacturing halved to 12%. Social services remained the one clearly female-leaning sector at 18% against 9%. And here is the complete response, 215 words. Pause the video and read it as a whole. Look at how each paragraph does one job only, and how the two body paragraphs are built around the 2 years rather than around the 6 sectors. That single structural choice is what keeps it coherent. Here is the language worth stealing. For change, expanded to absorb, contracted steeply, halved to, fell to only, lost ground. For pattern, sharply segregated, grew more alike, comparable across the sexes, clearly female-leaning, and for precision, over half of, a further quarter, are negligible. Notice that the words increase and decrease never appear. Why would this score band 9? Task achievement. Every sector is covered, the overview is figure-free, and all data is accurate. Coherence. 4 purposeful paragraphs with contrast properly signaled. Lexical resource. Varied precise verbs of change. Grammar. Controlled complex sentences with accurate comparatives and past perfect. One honest caveat, on screen and out loud, this assessment reflects an internal quality check against the public ielts band descriptors. It is not a score awarded by a certified examiner. Your turn. Rewrite body paragraph 1 without using the word women. Then write a new overview in exactly 2 sentences, still with no figures, and time yourself, 20 minutes, 150 words minimum. Post your attempt in the comments and I will read it. Thanks for watching Bmaster79.